Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for a purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. For uses of use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, education, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Now let's start this dang show.
You gonna have any fights this week? Oh man, we gotta have some fights.
The AFC West is just going to... I wish that was the Hard Knocks division. I know the NFC East is not too shabby. Plus, Pete's back.
Pete's back.
Jim Brockmeyer, once upon a time, came on the Rich Eisen podcast.
Podcast a long time ago.
Okay, before we were a show. The Rich Eisen podcast. He called Pete Carroll the world's oldest teenager?
Now that Dick Clark has passed on.
That's what he said. Okay, Pete Carroll. Now that Dick Clark has passed on.
Yeah.
And he's only gotten older since then and younger. This is Pete Carroll chopping it up with the media on Thursday in Vegas.
What's your preseason philosophy when it comes to the use of the players? Can fans expect the ones and the twos out there?
Every game's a championship game. That's the only way we know how to look at it.
How do you feel about Ashton Genty's development so far for rookie running backs? Is that learning curve with pass blocking? And
I really like that stance he's in, He's doing great. He really is. He's right on point with everything that we're doing. He's studying really hard. He's been really diligent about all aspects.
Prof Bowers, that's what you did here last year. How do you take that next step? How does he take that?
Did you see the catch he made today? When the ball got tipped and they called it, they waved it off. We had to go up top and they gave him the catch. The commissioner stepped in and gave him the catch. From the moment he stepped on the field, he did everything you could possibly ask of him. His study habits, his work habits, his focus on a regular basis. He's making the catches and the plays. Gino already knows who's out there. He knows where 89 is, and he's found him a ton of times already. He just makes himself so available. He's a big part of the offense for sure. Chip knows he's out there too.
Sure how hands-on you are with Gino out here, but how do you think you and him have really just picked up where you left off from Seattle?
We ain't getting along at all. I mean, I feel really like we're connected at the hip. He's an elite quarterback in the league, and so what he brings to us is great confidence. He brings to me, I know that we're going to get great play out of his spots.
We decided to keep the trip in today. You guys do have the Eagles on the schedule. I guess your thoughts on the rule in general and playing them this year.
Good choice. It's a good choice. Good choice to do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pete Carroll.
Wow, that's my coach right there. Man.
You got to love it. It's just a breath of fresh air.
Oh, yeah.
AFC West is going to be great. Put up the Raiders' schedule. Let's see what Raiders being good is good for the National Football League. The autumn wind, man, is a pirate. Let's go. The AFC West is going to be lit. And the Raiders being good is good for business.
Would be fun.
Just good for business.
What up, everybody? It is a Wednesday. It is a Cage Match Wednesday. And I guess, we came up with the show, but I guess, what do you call it? The content, whatever the show.
Content. We're content creators, so sometimes we got to come up with our own content to entertain everybody.
Yes. So ain't no news, but I guess no news is good news when you're a Raider fan in the off season, because usually when it's news, it's bad news. No news, so
I don't know. I like to hear good news every once in a while.
Well, we're not used to that. We're not conditioned that way. Every time, when the off season is noisy, usually when it's not like right now, it's a dead time. It's in between OTAs and was it training camp? You're not supposed to really hear anything. It's supposed to be quiet. Usually, this is when all the effery starts happening. So
fuckery.
But anyways, welcome to the Cage Match.
Come on, your mom's not on yet. You could have said fuckery.
Nah, someone's gonna snitch.
I swear to God, I feel like we're in the end of that Deadpool. What is it, 2? Right, where he gets Colossus to finally swear. I'm gonna get you to swear. Just say fuck once. Just say it once for me.
I can't do it. My mom's always watching. Okay, a long time ago, when I was in elementary school, my mom did this psychological, thing. She goes, whatever you do, I'm going to hear about it. So if you think no one's watching, I got people. They're watching. So you better watch what you do and watch what you say. And I was like, okay. And I was too afraid to do anything.
Crap. That's like on page 3 of the parenting handbook.
I know.
Mean, come on. You fell for one of the oldest tricks in the book.
Well, I used to see my grandmother have to, discipline my uncle who's a year older than me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be good. She's the enforcer. I'm going to be good. So anyways, Asylum, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Having flashbacks of, of being scared when I was a child. I'm like, I'm nervous. Nah. Anyway.
PTSD. Yeah, PTSD.
Yes. So today we're going to talk about, I guess what's up, Ed? I guess we're going to talk about the difference of hype between last season's off season and this season's off season. So we're just going to go through all that and how it goes, So, but before we do all that, Asylum, let's do our favorite segment, which is the shameless plug. And where's it at? Oh, here we go.
I see they changed everything. It's all fucked up.
I know.
Catch us on YouTube, The Cage Match Show. Like, share, subscribe, give us the thumbs up, hit that bell. That way anytime a video or show or something drops. And if Roger Goodell decides to be that cocksucker he likes to be, he's watching us. We know he is because there's no football going on right now. You can catch us on Facebook on first the Oakland Raiders Savage page, Oakland Raiders Savage, or my page, Asylum, and we'll let you know when it's safe to come back to YouTube because we got past that little cocksucker Roger Goodell. Then when you're done, when the show's over, why don't you go visit WGG? Browse their different items. Apparently, there's a s'mores one now. That one sounds interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Or you could do this little thing that we have the picture of. What is that? A starter kit. That's what it's called. A little starter kit right there. And then when you're ready to check out, put Cage Match in the discount code. One word, Cage Match. One word. To get 10% off your entire order.
And like we always say, when you think of wins, think of dubs. When you think of dubs, think of Dubby. Get the energy like Pete Carroll at 73 going on 74 in the second week of the season. I know I keep saying we're going to talk about his age, and I'm the one that's keep adding about his age or whatever. Anyways, go to the w.gg, help us out. Go there, 10% off your first order. CAGEMATCH, that helps us out. And
Ed, this is a sponsor, not a commercial. There is a difference.
Yes. because we didn't get paid for it yet. So we're throwing the fishing rod out there, the fishing line out there to try to steal. I mean, not steal, make money, not steal money, make money. All right,
we're just trying to become Rich Eisen, right? He started off as a podcast.
Exactly.
And now, we're going to get a syndicated show. We're going to have, sponsors. We're going to have it all. Then everyone's going to be stuck listening to the cage match.
That is the dream. And also, shouts out to Fabian, the Compa Fabian. Go over there, check out his website, www.rn4lifer.com. Check that out. Check out his catalog. And like I always say, I only wear hats for the man himself. Hard Knocks.
This was not from him.
All right. Well, I mean,
mine.
It can be.
Mine is mine. I pointed at mine, so because it's a hat. It can be. But it can be. I got a birthday coming up. You buying me one?
My birthday's coming in first. In a few weeks. Hitting the big 4-0. I'm not ready. And RaiderNation4Lifer.com. And also shouts out to the man, Raiderman19.com. The Raider Man from Richmond podcast, I believe, will be rebooted, coming back up again. So go there to that website. He also has his own merch, the Oath merch. And speaking of the Oath, we want to somehow, some way get him to the torch at the beginning of the season to fire up the 65,000 Raider fans that Pete Carroll said we're going to bring back.
Pete Carroll promised. Remember, he promised.
He promised the Pete Carroll effect. Hopefully will translate into the regular season, and 65,000 fans will try their best to bring that home field advantage like it was at the Oakland Coliseum, the Oakland Mystique with the Las Vegas Raider way with those back windows open, and you hear at the end of the Raider Oath, where Raider Man yells to the whole crowd and the whole stadium all down the strip, I am
a Raiders fan.
So that's what we're trying to do.
I was trying to turn it with you. Why'd you stop?
Well,
we were supposed to say it together, like we was in a crowd.
I know, I was trying to, but I was the sober fan, and you would have. Well, let's go again. I am a Raider fan. We just started. I started at
drinking is part of the goddamn experience.
I started at the tailgate. All right.
Yes. Sometimes you even start before the tailgate.
That's how it goes. All right. Raider news.
You got a free lube,
Unless you're Ice Cube. Ice Cube says no Vaseline. Well, that was the NWA. Whatever, going off. Raider fan, but All right, Asylum. Before we go into everything we're going to talk about, let's start off with the news. Can you hit that intro, please?
This is CMN, a cage match news update.
Thank you, James Earl Jones. You're missed.
Yes. The voice of Darth Vader. Mr. Raider, Darth Vader himself. Okay, Asylum, let's start off with the first news. Good news. We have punter AJ Cole signed a $15.8 million deal. A 4-year extension. There you go. Four-year extension, $15.8 million extension, making him the highest paid punter in NFL history. Beating out a Seattle player. Of course, it's Pete Carroll. So, he was going to.
And I got an autograph picture from him too.
Hey, he was going to be a free agent at the end of the season, but they went and locked him down. Looking at his stats right here,
they did smart, I think.
Yes, undrafted free agent 2019 when they were in Oakland. So he's one of the last Oakland Raiders. His entire career with the Raiders.
Colton and Crosby, I believe.
Him, Colton, Crosby. There's not just 3 left, is there?
I think there's only 3 left.
No,
who else is there?
Was that?
Oh no.
Well, 3. Yeah, 3. Well, yeah, because What's his name left, and the other guy left, and yeah. So I think it could be just 3.
I think there's only 3.
Yeah. So the Oakland is fading away, man. But anyways, looking at this, highest NFL paid punter in NFL history, whatever, $11 million guaranteed money, and now that extends his contract out to 2028 season. 2029, he'll be a free agent. Asylum. What do you think about the Raiders? It's a punter. But punters are important too.
Punters, kickers. Hey, hold on. What was the team that drafted a kicker in the first round? Twice. First team to do it. How the first round was one of them?
The Raiders.
See, we have not forgotten one of the key things. We've had legendary punters and field goal kickers. We've had some legends on the team. You got the first one ever to be put in the Hall of Fame, a Ray guy. You had a Shane Leckler. I mean, there's some big shoes to be filled right there, just with those 2 right there. So, I mean, now I got to give it to Cole. He's just coming off of another contract extension he got in 2021, which was $12 million. So, he got a little bump, right? 12 to 15.8, about $4 million more dollars. But it's truly one of the unsung positions. It really is, because when you fail to convert first downs, your punter can be that guy who flips that field, traps them in that 10-yard line, gives that defense a fighting chance to be spectacular, to have that big play, right? I mean, if they're on the damn 3-yard line, 9 out of 10 times the first play is going to be a run play. Get away from that goal. Right? Run play. So, it helps you focus. I think it's a fair contract. I mean, $15 million, 4-year extension, 11 guaranteed. He doesn't have a lot of injuries. I believe he was only injured once in these 6 years he's been with the team. He's been, for the most part, consistent. I mean, I'm happy with it. I like to see us lock up, those players that we feel matter as a team. Those good players. Yes. You don't have to worry for a punter in the draft or anything else, barring injury, for the next 4 years. Go ahead. You want to say something?
No, I was going to say punters are people too. And punters are people too. And you see on the stats, the gray area, that is his Pro Bowl seasons. 2 of those seasons he was AP first team punter, and look at the just punts inside the 20. So in 2021 he got 28, 2022 he had 26, 2023 he had 34. Now I guess you can say last year maybe was a down year because he had 2 blocks, but last year the whole year was a down year.
Oh, but look at the offensive line he was punting behind.
Yeah.
So I mean, to me, the fact that it took year 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, year 6 to finally get something blocked. Yeah. That means he was, and I believe last year he was dealing with an injury, so he wasn't as quick to get his punts off.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I think he wasn't he also injured in that Monday night game, the Falcon game? I think he might have, because that was one of his blocks, I believe.
Yeah,
was in that game. Yeah, so
I think so.
But I mean, locking up the punter, like you said, punters, they're part of the defense because they like you said, they flip the field. They're a big part of field position, and if you can get the defense, or if you can have him pin the offense all the way, like you said, to the back of the end zone, the defense has more room where they can play with. And then if you get them inside the 20, good chance, if they have to punt, we're in better field position because our punter.
Exactly. If they even get 1 first down, right? 1 first down, then you stop them the next 3. They're still punting from somewhere in the 20 to 35 yard line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, assuming where they got it, you get them trapped inside that 10. One first down brings it to the 20. You stop them right there. You know, that's called field position.
Yeah.
That's how you get your offense. We had that happen a few times last year where the only reason we scored was because we ended up we played that field position game with back-to-back punts. We punted, then they punted. But because we put them further back and got put in a better starting position and only had to convert half the field to get points, you can't argue with that. Everyone wants numbers. Everyone wants spectacular. The only numbers that matter are in the win column and what numbers are at the, be after every team's name when those clocks say 0, 0, 0.
Yes. Yes. So punters are people.
Those are the only numbers that truly matter.
And the contract is fair. Contract is fair.
I think so. No, I mean, 4 years, $15 million, 11 guaranteed. So that means he's getting a majority of his contract. Compared to what other players, other positions are getting. I mean, there's even third string fucking wide receivers making more money than that. Third on the depth chart, motherfucker. I mean, shit. Backup quarterbacks. Look at Minshew. He got paid all that in one season.
I know.
And how well did he do?
Well, he gave the punter a lot of work. So
yes, he did. No wonder he was injured. He wasn't used to kicking so much.
I know. It's like, wait a minute, man. It's not how it's supposed to go. That's not funny. That was sad. All right. Jeff, what is up, Jeff? In the comments, Jeff. Okay, let's go to the next one. I
was testing out that little on the screen thing with the comments,
Oh, I don't know. We can go back.
Well, you already turned it off. I guess we know who runs the show now.
Well,
it's okay.
Goodell runs the show, okay?
I'm just here to be a pretty face.
Next one.
I'm just here so I don't be fine.
Next one right here. D tackle Christian Wilkins still recovering from Jones fracture in his foot. Not yet cleared for on-field activities. This was last year. He had that big contract, and we're gonna put the stats up in a little bit. But he had that big contract that he signed. We got him from Miami last year, and he was a big acquisition to help out Max Crosby. On the offensive line, on a defensive line, and
he's supposed to be that big run stopper in the middle, that guy who gets pressure, to help. What is it? To help eat up man, to help to take the double teams away from Max Crosby, because that was a big boy right there. You got to double team him, otherwise your fucking quarterback come back looking like a Wile E. Coyote after a rock just done foul on him.
Well,
that's called a pancake, fellas. That's where I was going with that. That's called a pancake, in case this younger generation don't know who Wile E. Coyote is.
It's too much violence in those cartoons, Kay. That's why the kids are so soft nowadays. All right, here's what Pete Carroll had to say on Wilkins' injury.
Coach, where's Christian Wilkins at in his recovery process?
Yeah, this has been a difficult recovery, and he's done everything he needs to do. He's been here every day. He's here early, working hard, but we're still working it, and he's not ready to get back out. And we're in the midst of a long, challenging process here. So, fortunately, there's a lot of time, and we're going to take every bit of it. We've really tried to be really diligent about the way we've worked it and the way we've monitored it and all of that. And he's been on board the whole time. So, but it has been challenging.
So with that Jones fracture, about the Liz Frank.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know the Liz Frank. That's that little bone at the top of the foot. But what the fuck's a Jones fracture? Do you know?
The fact that a foot has different regular people names for each injury. Liz fracture, a Jones fracture.
Liz fracture. There's an N. It's not Liz L-I-Z.
Oh my bad. Liz Frank. I don't know. I don't know. But Wilkins, he's still trying to rehab and out there. I guess if there's a positive, he's out there. He's still working out and everything.
I was going to say that, and you don't see him in the boot. You see him out there, at least doing the warm-ups, everything else. Yes, he's not, doing all the regular stuff, which is fine. This is only OTAs. But if he was really as far behind as everyone wants to say he is, would he be? I don't think he'd be at these voluntary. You got to remember, these are voluntary for a lot of the veteran players, right? So he didn't have to be out there with his foot and everything, but he's out there. He's doing what he can, what the doctors are allowing to do, what the team is allowing him to do, being out there with the guys, keeping that camaraderie, going. And I'm sure he's pushing things just a little bit to be able to show, but you're not seeing him in the boot like I kept hearing. He was in a boot just yesterday, and then you just want to make sure this is one of those injuries. Because I don't know what it is. I'll look it up here when next time you're talking. But, this is one of those injuries that probably, just like the Liz frame, where you had it, and if you come back too early, you re-break it like that, and now you're out for another year.
It's like when I used to play competitive fast pitch softball about 10 years ago, and I pulled a hamstring. Trying to run from first to second. On my third step, you feel that. I feel like I got shot by like I was an inmate trying to escape prison, and they shot me in the back of the leg from the tower. And it's it's a 6-week injury.
Okay.
They say.
What a break's that? I found out what a Jones break is.
Where's the Jones break?
It's right there where your toes meet the top of the foot, but it's the pinky toe area. So it's at the top of your foot. All those bones that are lining all up, up there to the top of your foot. It's right there at the very top. He broke one of those little bones there.
Start wearing some steel toe cleats. But I was saying is,
remember, it was his celebration that did it, though.
Yeah,
we gotta tell him, you're a big boy. You don't sell it. Your feet stay on the ground. No jumping up. We'll be okay.
Well, when I pull my hamstring, it's a 6-week. They say 6-week injury, and I try to run on it in like 3 weeks, and then re-injured it again because you want to go out there and play. I'm fine. We'll tape it, whatever, and then I was out for the rest of the season. So,
yeah, no, I mean, you're looking at this injury here. What quick things I could find on it going? They're talking about 4 to 8 weeks in a boot or a cast. To get healing. And then if you have the surgery, you add even more time. So, yeah, you're looking at something that's going to be a minimum of, 4 to 6 months probably to heal.
You know what doctor he should have saw?
Fauci.
No. No. Say Dr. Scholes, but you went to away. No. Okay, he's bad news.
I don't think Dr. Scholes would have helped in this case.
Dr. Scholes, okay, he needed to be gelling, and he wasn't gelling. Christian Wilkins, injury setback. Look at this stats right here. Or I guess look at his, not his stats, but the contract that he signed with the Raiders. The gray area right there is already had passed, of course. That's in the past. Let's look into the future, as McGuire had said once in front of Congress. We're not here to talk about the past. We're talking about the future and how it could prosper. But last year, Tom Telesco, the GM for the Raiders, got him to sign a 4-year, like gunpoint, got him to sign it. Got him on a 4-year contract worth $110 million. $82.75 million was guaranteed. Played only 5 games. In that 5th game was when he got injured last season before going on IR with the foot. His 2024 stats: 17 tackles, 11 of those solo, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. His availability right now is uncertain when he can come back. But I know a lot of folks have been talking about, not a lot of folks, but meaning like when you watch like other podcasts and people's takes on Wilkins, they kind of see this as I don't know if you want to call it a free agent bust. Like, would you call this a free agent bust? Too early?
No, I mean, you can't yet. I mean, it's not like Albert Hainsworth situation, right? He didn't get paid big money and then decide he just wants to do what he wants to do. He's going to play when he wants to play, all that shit. Here you got a guy who came in, OTAs, did all that shit, did what he had to, to get to know his teammates, all this shit, and turn around and got hurt in, I believe, the game that Max Crosby missed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If I remember correctly, it was that first game Max Crosby missed.
It was
Anyways,
the Browns. I believe it was the Browns, right? Yeah.
I believe so. I could be wrong on that, but still. No, I think it's too early if you want to call it a bust. I mean, yes, injuries happen. Big contract, big name, big player. It's not what you want to see week 5 and you're, out for the rest of the season. And remember, when he first went out, they didn't even say it was for the season. They just said it was out. You and me both said it was his foot, and it seems like this is going to be a problem. And it turned out to be the whole season. So I'd rather him. Oh, go ahead. You want to ask something?
I'll say that goes like what you were saying last year or 2 years ago with Tyree Wilson about the Lynn. Is it Lynn's? You said Lynn's Frank.
No, he had oh god damn it. He had
he had the
plantar fasciitis. He had the plantar fasciitis.
Yeah. I think it was McFadden was a Lynn's Frank kind of guy, right? Yes. Let's see what's worse, because I remember, back in the day, everything was generalized, all these injuries. What's worse? Let's see. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. What's worse? What's this called? A Frank? No. This is called what's this called again? Jones?
Yeah, Jones.
A Jones fracture or turf toe? Turf toe is a big one, huh? Let's see. I don't know. They're all the same. Are serious foot injuries, but they differ in severity, healing time, and long-term impact. Here's a breakdown. Because I remember when Charles Woodson.
So the Lynch break looks like it's in the same general area as the Jones, except it's the big toe side of your foot, where the Jones break is on the pinky toe side.
Okay, what injury is when you're trying to walk at night and it's dark and you kick your foot against the nightstand? What is that called?
Son of a motherfucking damn dog. That's what I call that one.
We call that the toe jam. Okay, that is the toe jam injury. What'd you do? I was trying to get to the bathroom and I misread the way my room was set up, and now I have 4 toes. The pinky toe, DOA. The TOE is DOA.
I'd rather stub my big toe on anything. You catch that pinky toe, you always fucking feel like it's bent the wrong way and it's broken and you're never going to be able to walk again. I don't know why, but it always feels that way.
I know. I'm gonna start taping like I'm gonna start taping the toes together like they do when the injury with the hand. They take the hand. I'm gonna do the same thing with the toes. It's called preventive procedures. Toe jam. I knew that. But yeah,
how do you feel, Captain? Haven't seen or heard from you in a minute.
Well, I remember Charles Woodson. I think it was going into the Super Bowl year. I know he had the high ankle sprain, but I think up until that injury, he was dealing with turf toe. And I always thought like turf toe, like don't injure your camel toe. The camel toe.
Hey,
you know what?
For the Canadians, it's a moose knuckle. Just saying.
How an injury south of your waist turn into references south of your waist. All right. Okay. Charles Woodson had a turf toe. So I just thought like maybe generalization, but I guess new injuries, they make new names, kind of like new illnesses. They have new names. It's not just all you're just crazy. No, there's different names to each illness. Like your foot. Oh, there's different names to each injury. It's not just I hurt my foot. What'd you do? stepped on it wrong, or I kicked the side of the metal frame of the bed. Oh, that's the worst too. When you kick the metal frame of the bed,
yeah.
When you hit the wheel, you're like, oh, that's old school. That's old school. The old school frame. But speaking of Charles Woodson,
but yeah, turf toe is completely different though. It's a different spot, and it's more to do with the joint than it is a bone.
Yeah, I was all like, we don't even play on turf. Maybe it was the infield dirt in Oakland. He got a dirt toe. I don't know. Just watch it.
Dirt toe. Hey,
I don't know.
You know what? I miss our advantage of that damn dirt infield.
Yeah.
You know, I wish we could see it in Vegas just to fucking piss off other teams. I know when we left Oakland, they were happy. Finally, no more dirt. I vote we put a petition out there to bring the dirt back.
Hey, the A's are supposed to be going to Las Vegas also, and I had a picture. It's on my Instagram. I don't have it now, but the A's should go and play baseball inside Allegiant Stadium. So in September, you had the dirt infield, throwing it back to the Oakland A's at the Coliseum. The owner of the A's ain't gonna pay enough money to get to the playoffs. It's only gonna be the first month, the September, and we ain't going into October. That's just, whatever. So, but yeah, they should do that. I mean, they're already playing in a minor league field over there in Sacramento, so they'll be used to playing in a small little quarters of a dome. So hey, there you go. For all those who know and been to an Oakland game at the beginning of the season, about the dirt. I like, how do you have grass stains and dirt stains? Well, it's Oakland. Oh, okay, makes sense. We got potholes in the street. We got dirt on the field. That's how it goes.
Yep.
Speaking of Charles Woodson and his turf toe, right here, Hall of Fame and former Raider DB Charles Woodson officially minority owner of the Browns. And that's the Cleveland Browns, Kay. The Cleveland Browns.
Hold on. Get it straight. The expansion team, the Cleveland Browns.
The expansion team, Cleveland Browns. Where are the regular ones? They're called the Ravens. The expansion team, Cleveland Browns, resurrected by Carmen Policy back in, I believe, 1995. I know my history. Asylum. Here, before we talk about it, here's what Charles Woodson had to say. This is on CBS, one of their news stations, CBS Sports. Here's what Charles Woodson had to say on why he decided to be interested in part owner of the Browns. Here we go.
And Charles Woodson, he's got the Browns shirt on. You're official now.
Yeah.
How did I know Larry Fitzgerald played a role in this. Was this something you were looking at? How did this come about?
No, actually, he called me randomly one day or texted me, and we ended up talking, and it kind of came, out of the blue a little bit. But the question was, hey, would you be interested in kind of going down this path? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And he said, hey, I have someone who may be able to, facilitate that for you. And he introduced me to Derek Higgins, who worked with the NFL for years. He brought up a few, other teams, but then we started talking about Cleveland. And, as that conversation started, it just kind of started to make sense. Me being from Ohio, the Cleveland Browns, and we set up a meeting at the Super Bowl last year when the Super Bowl was in Vegas. So a year and a half ago. And then after that meeting, I took a visit up to the Browns facility and toured the facility, met a bunch of people within the organization, was out there at one of the practices. And then at that point, at that meeting, Jimmy was like, hey, let's go ahead and start this process. So that's kind of, how it started in a nutshell.
So let me ask you this. What is your role now going to be? I mean, obviously you do a million things. We see you on TV. You got your bourbon. I'm a bourbon girl. I still haven't tried it. I'm going to try it at some point. But what are you looking to be involved with here? I mean, is it helping the front office? Is it talking to players? What do you want your role to look like?
Yeah, I think it could be a combination of both of those things, front office and players. I think, with myself, man, I have a ton of experience, just being in and around the game of football all my life. I've pretty much, done it all. So I think I could be, just a wealth of knowledge for anyone around, the organization. And so I think it'll be really a work in progress of, what they would want from me. And I think that role would probably just evolve over time.
Okay, Silent, picture this.
No.
Charles Woodson drafted first round by the Raiders in 1998. Just won a national championship with Michigan. Now I'm on the Raiders. Then I become Rookie of the Year. Raiders. Okay, I'm on the Raiders. Storied franchise, Rookie of the Year. Defensive side. Went to the Super Bowl in 2002. Didn't work out. We all know what happened. Gets cut by the Raiders, or Al Davis didn't want to pay him. He's like, I could go pay, for whatever, and he ends up giving that money to I forgot the other DB on the other side of him.
Wasn't it Huff? Not Huff.
No, this is way before Huff. Anyways,
yeah.
you go to another storied franchise, the Green Bay Packers. Okay. You win a ring with the Green Bay Packers. After your tenure with the Packers, you come back and you play for the Raiders to finish out your career, the career that you started your career. Storied franchise. Now, we didn't go nowhere. Terry, Willie, well, I know there's Willie Shaw, the defensive coordinator, and then there was Terrence Shaw, the cornerback. Right? Is it Terrence Shaw? I think. I know Willie Shaw was the coordinator, defensive coordinator. Perhaps. But you finish your career with the Raiders. Okay, so you're tied to two franchises. Super Bowl number 2.
Two iconic franchises at that.
The second Super Bowl was Raiders and the Green Bay Packers. Okay, Charles Woodson's number in college was number 2. I'm trying to tie all this together. Okay, you got your bourbon. Raiders, it's like number 1. Your Raiders number 1 sponsor, whatever. And of all the teams, you end up with the Browns. Yeah, let's go. I used to live there. Let's go. Asylum. The Browns, and like you said, not even the original Browns, the Jim Brown Browns. Okay, not those Browns. This is the expansion Browns. This is a rebrand. This is a rebranded Brown. This is a different type of Brown. What do you? I saw captains. I think you're talking about that Redskin reject. You saw captain's comment in there saying like it's just ugly. It's disgusting. Saying a Browns helmet logo on Charles Woodson's chest, like asylum. What's going on here? Is this bizarre world? What's going on?
I mean, I asked that same question. Remember, why the Browns? Now we all know he's an Ohio guy, right? He's Ohio. He grew up in Ohio. He's big. He actually grew up in Fremont, Ohio.
Hey!
All the Californians going to understand the significance of Fremont.
Hey!
So, I mean, I guess for him, it was probably the team he grew up rooting for, right, as a kid. Not this one because it's an expansion, but the original Browns and all that. I mean, it was an opportunity. It sounded like there was other opportunities, but again, being a Raiders fan and everything with Woodson, I wish he would have come in on the Raiders side when we were bringing in Seymour and a few other people on these whole what the fuck are they called?
Minority
owners. Thank you. But yeah. Anyways, but the thing is, he's not in the day-to-day. He's only owns 0.1% of the team. He doesn't even own a full share. It's 0.1%. So basically, he's just an ambassador for the team and will be a part of strategic conversations. So probably, on the defensive side of the ball, pep talks at halftime, shit like that. You always want to see him in Brown shit, being a minority owner. You won't see Woodson or Raiders shit anymore. It's got to go. Now, the funny part of all this is he's going to have to follow the same rules as Tom Brady. since he does work for Fox. I believe that's what Fox. So he can't talk shit about refs. He has to, he has the same limitations. He can't go to certain aspects of team meetings and this, that, the other for the other team. So, yeah, that's what I just said. Yeah. Anyways, he's going to have to follow all those. But here's the fucking crazy part. Here's the crazy part. Now it comes down to his interception wine and Woodson whiskey. He has to take his name, picture, and anything like that off of the whiskey. So there is no longer going to be Woodson whiskey. It's going to have its name changed to something else. So everyone who has the Woodson whiskey, autographed or not, those bottles are going to become probably bigger collector's items because it will no longer be called Woodson whiskey because he can't have his name on it. So
yeah.
So I mean, that's going to be an interesting thing. Now I need to hurry up and get me a goddamn autograph bottle before they disappear. Because now, remember, when he first started doing this, he came out with the Raiders first. Then he came out with the Green Bay one. Then he came out with the Michigan one. So is there now going to be a Browns Woodson whiskey bottle coming out? Or whatever it's going to be called? I think that's crazy to sit there for that 1% ownership. Everything he's got to give up. I mean, he must have loved the team enough growing up to want to do this because, I mean, Woodson's an iconic name, especially with the Raiders in Green Bay.
Yes.
Now you're going to have to change your whole marketing. What about that relationship that he built with the Raiders and being the top distributor of his whiskey to the Raiders shit, but now it's no longer going to be called Woodson whiskey? Does he lose out on that money too?
And he just signed that, I believe.
I don't disagree.
I believe he signed that just at the beginning of last year, where Woodson whiskey and the Raiders were
teaming up.
Yeah. So it was going to be the official whiskey of Allegiant Stadium and the Las Vegas Raiders. But yeah, I mean, conflict of interest, and not only do you have the conflict of interest of your own business, and like you said, he's going to be under the same restrictions as Tom Brady is, which is funny because the two players that were involved in that play in 2001, Tom Brady with the Raiders. It would have been funny if he went as part owner of the Patriots, but he ended up going to the Browns, which I don't know. I was trying to think of something but I'm like, no, because that's not funny. It's like how like the Browns.
I mean, exactly. Who would have thought that Tom Brady would have any stake in the Raiders? Nobody saw that one coming, right? Is being the Raiders, being he's a Patriots guy and all that other shit. And then Woodson, who, if we retire numbers, between him and Willie Brown and shit, that 24 would be retired by now.
Yeah.
And you're going to go to the Browns and become 0.1% owner and have to rebrand all your shit, possibly losing out. I mean, yeah, they're going to be the official whiskey of the Raiders. But, how much money was in that, right? I mean, you're talking about he gave up $5.1 million to become 0.1% owner. Now, granted, he's supposed to get some of that back, the way it's going to work and shit. But, I mean, in the sales, I'm sure the Raiders paid him more than that just to become the official whiskey that now has to be something else. I mean, it's going to be named something else. Unless the Raiders buy out everything he owns right now, everything that's made that still says Woodson whiskey, so they can keep it Woodson whiskey for this time. But I don't know what's going to happen. I don't like this move. I'm a captain. Boo.
This is like the amusement park, down south over here, Great America. They were Paramount's Great America, and you had Top Gun, which was like this, roller coaster and drops. Well, Drop Zone's still there, but all these names named after Paramount movies, and then they lost the name and they turned it to California's Great America, and then they had to change the name from Top Gun to Flight Deck. And I'm not going to call it Flight Deck. I'm going to call it Top Gun. It's like when my high school, my freshman year, we had a Taco Bell stand during lunch, and then I don't know what happened. We lost it, whatever. Then it turned to Taco Express, and there was no flavor in those bean burritos. They were just beans and tortilla. It wasn't the same recipe. So we're going to have dry bean burrito whiskey over there in Las Vegas. That's how I feel. Okay, enough of that. Okay, let's go back in time a little bit. The show, the subject of the show is hype or hope, because just like athletes who change their jersey numbers. And speaking of jersey number, the 24, who probably messed this all up? Okay, we're gonna go Back to the Future type almanac type stuff. It's probably Peters. Peters was the last one to wear 24, and his garbage play. Like, you wore 24 for like 7 games and got cut in the middle of the season. Okay, 24. A player wearing 24 shouldn't get cut in the first season of that player wearing that jersey. This is what resulted into the Browns. That's my take on that right there. Okay, Salam. Now, we all remember last year, and I was on the AP train. Salam, you were on the AP train. But we were AP train because we just wanted some kind of stability. Now, we all knew that, he didn't have a lot of experience. 1 year as a position coach, and then the second year, he was a position coach up until like week 9, and then he took over as interim head coach, and then he became the head coach to start last year. And at the end of that 2023 campaign, there was the AP effect. From week 9 to week 18, points allowed 15.3, first in the league at the time. Takeaways 13, tied 6th in the league at that time. Defensive touchdowns 4, which was first in the league at that time. Sacks 24, tied 5th. Penalties 24, it was low. It was low. First at that time. So we're thinking, okay, you know what? Give him a shot. Give him a chance. This team was disciplined. They played for him. Max Crosby, give him a chance, or I might have to look at other business decisions, which became a big.
I might have to see what other options are out there.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't as bad as people. He said he wanted to get traded. It's not what he said, but twisting words. So we were all hyped. Well, I say a lot of. I'm gonna say because there were people out there that said no, he doesn't have he doesn't have the experience. I don't know if I can trust that he's gonna turn this around and everything. But us and there was a lot. When you end the 2023 season with the whole stadium chanting AP, 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 that means there was a good amount of fans that we all thought, okay, you know what? Give him a chance, give him a shot. Let's see what happens. Now, last year it's either him or Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh ended up going to the Chargers. We ended up getting AP head coach. So
still like that better.
Yes. Tony Pierce gets hired. Then they hire Tom Telesco about a week later, and then we're gonna get Kingsbury, which he just got let go by the Cardinals, and but he was a good. Hey, what's up, Pink? The first one to crash our show. People want to crash our show again.
Still don't know how she did it.
We'll leave the door unlocked this time. She came in. The Panthers are gonna, beat you guys. We're like, whatever. And then the Panther game happened. We're like, okay, never mind.
We was wrong.
It's because of it's last season. So and then we thought, okay, the Raiders got Cliff Kingsbury. All right, it didn't work out. He went to Washington. That's when it kind of started going down hill from there. Lou Getzi was hired. A lot of us was like, Lou Getzi, he just got fired by the Browns in the middle of the season. I'm sorry, the Bears. Sorry, I got Browns on my mind.
You should take care of that before the show.
The bubble guts. Who was that receiver? Number 13 from the Giants. Got it with the on the chest. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Then the Raiders went and signed Minshew. And we're like, okay, and it made sense. It made sense. We were hoping that he was going to come over and then continue, with that fight. The little, Garner, they call him the, dog, whatever they're trying to call him, whatever. And of course, we all know what happened. It didn't work out. 4-13 record, 27th overall. All that hype that we had, we lost it. What? When did we win? When did we know the hype was hype and it wasn't hope? When did we know? At what week were we like, you know what? Maybe we made a mistake.
I don't know. Probably somewhere between week 7 and 12.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there, because, we're going down, a couple of losses, no big deal. We went to LA, think technically we only lost by 5 points, but, okay, whatever. Then we lose to the Chiefs and Bengals. Yeah, you kind of expect that, but we should have beat, the Dolphins, should have beat the Broncos, but somewhere around there, for me anyways, is when it started to feel like, or that's it. I don't know about that. That was, we were only 1-2 at that point.
And it was like we almost beat the Chargers, and then there was that big fight that happened in the end zone, and then we got ejections and all that, and then we came and surprised the league and beat the Ravens, who they thought were going to just run us out the stadium in Baltimore. We went to their home field and won that game. It was a close game, but you saw AP was on the sideline getting into it with Lou Getzi, like, hey man, let's go. What are we doing? Offense looked like okay. Started turning around. They had that little trick play in the end zone where Minshew went and did the play action back at the end zone to Pop-Tart. And we're like, okay, 1-1, like you said. And then the home opener, yeah, we got ran out the field in that one. Got laid by a play bunny once. Garoppolo stepped in the middle. Ah! That's why we hate him. And then you had the Bronco game, which we all know what happened when we were at the Broncos, that 100-yard interception, 99-yard interception. And then it just kind of like fell down. And though we were close with Kansas City, didn't beat them. Close with Kansas City on that Black Friday, that ended the way it ended. And we just can never find our way. And yeah, on this show, and on this show, we were like, hey, man, just give him a chance, because we were tired of the carousel. We're tired of the carousel. But I guess when your stats look like this, as Antonio Pierce's 1 year as a full-time head coach, the defense with all the injuries it dealt with, finished mid-pack, middle, literally almost just about middle of the season. Middle of the league, 15 overall. But the takeaways, we were almost dead last. The giveaways, we were almost dead last, meaning we gave up the third most. Turnover ratio was bad. And we were playing with a lot of rookies and second-year guys. All our starters from the year before were all injured, and it was just a bad situation
all the way around.
So now we go into 2024, and it's okay. we have these, the coaching candidates. Ben Johnson was supposed to be. Everyone was like, "We're going to get Ben Johnson." Everyone was prematurely reporting that Ben Johnson prematurely saying that Johnson was going to be our new head coach. And then, like, not even 24 hours later, he's going to the Bears. The Bears. So now we're feeling like, oh, this is last year all over again. We think we got a guy, and then he's gone. What are we going to do? What's going to happen? Well, now we hired Pete Carroll. And Pete Carroll, we're like,
is that who our coach is? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Paying attention.
They're gonna say, you're gonna hear it, and we're gonna, and we should do it every Raider game that we get to watch on TV with the announcers. Get a bottle ready. We can't say Woodson whiskey anymore because he's with the Browns now. So get a bottle ready of I don't know any other player. Any other player with Belinikov wine.
Belinikov wine.
Belinikov wine. Take a drink, take a shot, whatever. Every time you hear the announcers talk about Pete Carroll's age. Pete Carroll, when the season starts.
You'll be fucked up by the end of the first quarter.
Pete Carroll, exactly.
You're going to be sloshed. We're not even talking about fucked up. We're talking about straight sloshed.
Yeah.
Let me change the number. Okay.
I got a pregame for the game, but more so for the announcers because they're gonna go and talk about Pete Carroll, 73 years old. 70, he'll be 74, I believe, by the second week of the season. So Monday Night Football, he'll be 74. I believe. So Pete Carroll right here. So this is on his higher date when he got hired by the Raiders in January. So he'll be the oldest coach to coach to be on the field as an NFL head coach in the regular season, surpassing Romeo Crennel when he was interim coach for the Texans. So it's all you're going to hear. It's all you're going to hear. But with Pete Carroll,
for September 15th.
September 15th. That means September 15th, the day after. Yes. It'll be his birthday.
Charger game.
The day before.
The Charger game will be on his birthday. So that's an automatic win to give Pete Carroll a fucking W on his birthday.
Yes. And it's at home. You know what they say? They said, you know why they say, because the Chargers are going to be that first game of the season. I believe they're playing against the Chiefs, and they're going to be across somewhere. They're in another country, whatever.
Yeah,
and usually
they'll be in Brazil. Brazil.
Yeah, I almost said Dominican Republic. They're going to bring into Brazil. And usually when the teams come back home, they have home games. But the reason why the Raiders get the home game on that Monday night is because Chris Brown has SoFi Stadium locked up for that weekend. So the Chargers got pushed out of their own home field for Chris Brown. And the reason why it's against the Raiders is because that's the next closest a stadium to them, outside of LA. So we'll just have it in Las Vegas. So not only do the Raiders own LA, not only do the Rams own LA, but also Chris Brown owns LA before the Chargers have any ownership of LA.
The Chargers ain't even redheaded stepchildren in their own stadium. They're like fucking, I don't even know what the hell you'd call it. Shit.
The Chargers are the possum that somehow got into my house.
And apparently the Brazil game is the Chargers' home game.
Oh, there you go. And it's safe because they're not wearing green. Powder blue. I don't know.
So I can't believe they did that bullshit.
With Pete Carroll coming in, we also have new changes. Now let's compare the two. Okay. When Antonio Pierce came in, we got Tom Telesco right after. Now Tom Telesco was a 50-50 approval rating when he came to the Raiders because he had just got fired by the Chargers the day after we shellacked them 63-21 in a 2023 year. And after the Raiders decided, you know what, instead of elevating, Champ Bailey, Champ Kelly, they decided to hire Tom Telesco. Now, a lot of fans are like, Tom Telesco, he was with the Chargers for 10 years, and they did nothing. That also is coaching, and it also is the ownership that they say Tom Telesco was handcuffed. He can only get the guys to come over, but he wasn't in charge of hiring the coaches, and he wasn't in charge really of the money that could be spent because the ownership was cheap. Spanos' so that's what happened. So we got Tom Telesco. Now, Tom Telesco didn't do bad. He didn't do bad when it came to the draft.
Or even picking up players during the season.
Yeah,
he picked up the like the Chase on and shit like that, especially after Crosby went down. So
yeah, so he did a lot. He was able to bring in players as players are going down. He was able to bring in role players to fill in the spots of the starters, the stars of the defense for the most part, and they were able to be serviceable players that we, grown to, hey, let's keep them as Raiders. A lot of them didn't become Raiders after, but they ended up getting Brock Bowers, like we said, in the first round. First round pick number 13, where a lot of folks wanted to get Penix. The Falcons took care of that. Yeah. And we ended up with Brock Bowers. Now, a lot of us, I didn't know who Brock Bowers was. I don't really follow college like that. I'm going to be honest. Demon King was all like, oh yeah, it's going down now. Demon King he was down for the cause. We're going to go Brock Bowers. Asylum, when we got Brock Bowers, how did you feel about Brock Bowers when we picked him, knowing that tight end wasn't on the radar?
Well, I mean, I knew a little bit about Brock Bowers. I heard what they were talking about him, that whole generational tag, everything else. But just like you, I didn't get to see a lot of Brock Bowers, so I didn't really know what we were getting. And when we had, just used a second-round pick on Michael Mayers. No S. I gotta get it right for fucking Demon King, because heaven forbid I screw up an Irishman's name. Anyways, but when you started doing a little bit of research, because a lot of people started researching right after the pick.
Mm-hmm.
Started going and seeing that technically he was. If you take the quarterback position out of, the draft orders and shit, and you did actual, players, he was in there for some people, the third best player, for others, the second best player in the draft. So I had that. I hope he can live up to the hype. And I thought, especially with Getsy being in there, we'd do a lot more 12 technique, on offense, but we didn't.
We didn't do nothing on offense.
Well, yeah. Well, we know why now, though.
Yeah, we know why. The offense.
I was in that boat of let's see how this pans out for us, because I didn't know a lot about him. I didn't expect him to have the season that he did have. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to sit here and say I knew it was going to be this. No. I did not expect.
Something's wrong with Dixie. What? She's wobbly.
Yeah, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play. What's that called? I'm gonna pretend like I knew everything. Yo, yeah, man, Brock Bowers. I knew it. When we got Brock Bowers, it was gonna be over. No, I didn't know that. I was at a Walgreens trying to watch the game. Trying to watch the draft. And I seen that they had drafted, because I didn't know. I was nervous that they were going to go and get Penix. And then when the Falcons came in and drafted Penix, I was like, okay, what are we going to do now? We're going to go offensive tackle. And we ended up getting Brock Bowers, which I was like, wow, that's a Raider move. Getting a guy in the first round of a position that we didn't really need help with. But I wasn't critical on it. I was just surprised. And as you look at the numbers right here, I mean, he broke records. This past season, he broke the rookie record for tight end receiving yards. He broke the record for the most catches by a receiving rookie. Last year, 122 receptions, which is third overall. You know, the other two were receivers. He's a tight end. They were always going to 153 targets. So only 12 of those, 13 of those, 31 of those he didn't get. He was a 1,000-yard receiver, 596 yards after contact, 61 first downs, and 15 of his plays were over 20-yard receptions. So Brock Bowers, we had a lot of us had like so expectations who didn't know him. We're like, okay, but when you see who we got first round this year, that generational tag is now on Ashton Gentry. I spelled it wrong. Genty. That's my fault. My fault. Okay, I spelled it wrong. Genty, first round, 6th pick, which everyone was all like, we could have got a quarterback, and Shedeur Sanders was there, and we passed on him, and we passed on him, and we passed on him after we got Ashton Genty. So we could have had both if that's what they wanted to do, but they didn't want to do that. Ashton Genty is now labeled the generational player at running back, and we do well when it comes to first-round running backs. Marcus Allen, Josh Jacobs, Napoleon Kaufman, McFadden, for the most part when he wasn't injured. But Asylum, looking at this list, now last year I was saying, Brock Bowers, we got him, but Gardner Minshew didn't work out, no longer on the team. Luke Getsy didn't work out, got kicked off the team halfway through the season. Tom
Telesco being fired. And even the ownership was different. Mark Davis is still owner, but it was just a little joke because Tom Brady, the media looks at Tom Brady as now the top guy, even though he's a minority owner. Was it like 0.5 owner? But he's no. He's 5%.
I'm sorry, 5%.
He's 5%, and then the rest of his group on the other 5%.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're thinking of like, what's the alcohol content if you get pulled over in California? It's 0.08. Oh, okay. That's how much I own. But looking over here, Luke Getsy wasn't the original choice. It was supposed to be Cliff Kingsbury. Now, I remember when I talked to you a while back when the Raiders hired Chip Kelly, and when I got the news, I was actually in church. It happened on a Sunday. I was actually in church, and I'm all like, oh, wow. Prayers have been answered because we have an offensive coordinator with a name. We know him.
One. We have a real offensive coordinator, which we haven't had in many years.
A long time. And then it's not on the list because he's not a new acquisition, but we were able to retain the services of Patrick Graham. And as you look at the stats over here, these are the two guys that's going to be, running. Chip Kelly running the offense, Patrick Graham continuing running the Captain Jack, continue running the defense. And as you see in that now, of course, Chip Kelly, these are his numbers when he was calling plays for the NFL, when he was also head coach. We're talking 12 years ago when he came to the Eagles after leaving Oregon. But you got Chip Kelly, who's been around football for a long time. Patrick Graham has been with the Raiders, just the Raiders alone, for the last, going on, he'd be on his 4th year now this season.
This would be his 4th year, yeah.
Yeah, so 1, 2, 3. Yes, 4 year, yeah. So we have coordinators, because, it's always been something like, well, our offense is good, but our defense is not. Or our defense is good, but our offense is not. We got a great offensive coordinator, but our defense is garbage, Gunther. We got a great defense, but our offense can't do nothing. Lombardi, not the same game that's on the trophy. but the one that's the son of a guy that we fired twice, and since then has been a Raider hater on the media. But that always resulted in the losing record under Mark Davis's tenure as the owner when he took over for Al Davis. Great to see you guys. Take care. Hey, all right, Captain. See you later, Captain. But that always resulted in this.
Hi, Cap.
We only had 2 winning seasons in the 11 years under Mark Davis's I guess you can say, because we can never become a balanced team. And now with Chip Kelly coming in, a guy that knows offenses, who's been calling offenses, who just came off of a national championship in college, and then Patrick Graham, who's familiar with the team, he was getting all his guys back healthy for the most part. We're seeing what happens with Wilkins, but for the most part, he knows the players that he has with them. There's no change of philosophy on the defensive side, so that can continue on. Asylum, just with the coaches alone that Pete Carroll has brought in to run the offense and the defense. Can we get excited for that?
I mean, we got to look at it as, I think we get excited for a few things. I mean, you have Joe Philbin, right, who was put as offensive line something. He didn't have it just him, but he stayed with Pete Carroll, and Pete Carroll kept him in that position. So now he's working with the offensive line. Yeah, kept Rob Leonard. I think with things going, we finally have a coach that has had success as a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
We brought in McDaniels, who didn't have success as a head coach, was a better offensive coordinator than he was a head coach. We had fucking, Bisaccia, who we all wanted to keep at that time. We did have Gruden, but, that was taking a lot longer to start getting going. So, finally getting a coach that wasn't new or already had a bad standing, in the NFL, I think is a good start, right? Mm-hmm. Then to go turn around and he goes and gets Chip Kelly, who, yes, as the head coach, right now I got to put Chip Kelly in that McDaniels group, right? Good offensive coordinator, great offensive coordinator, but when it comes to head coach, maybe not so great.
Yeah.
Now maybe learning, behind or underneath the Pete Carroll can help him in that, because I do believe he is our future head coach. When this, I don't want to call it experiment, but when this Pete Carroll thing, adventure is over, I think it's going to be that natural thing of Kelly stepping in and probably getting the head coaching job. But we have an OC, which has been years. I mean, we've tried everything. We brought, we had the bed and breakfast offense. Tried bringing in somebody from the past. Didn't work. We tried this. We tried so many different things, at OC, at head coach, that just, and then we didn't give it time. So we start a project and then not give it time to be able to work itself out. Only person who had time up until the emails came out was Gruden.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, it's like rest of NFL. 2 years, you ain't done shit, you're gone. And you'll be lucky to get the 2 years with the Raiders. So I think there's some excitement here. Players are buying in. Coaches are buying in. We're starting to see, names that have had success in their current positions coming in and coming together to go. Do I expect, as much as I want to say 17-0, Super Bowl bound, first year, yeah, that's the way it is. I mean, come on. In all realistic thought, they've started the makeover, whatever you want to call it. They started bringing in the players that's going to work out. We might have the Legion of Boom 2.0 coming in. We don't know. I've heard good things about certain players in that secondary, out of the OTAs and everything. So I think it's okay to be a little hyped about what's going on right now with the coaching and coaching staff, the front office. We've lost a bunch of fucking people, and I think this is a Tom Brady move, but a bunch of useless people in that front office that really didn't need to be there. Somebody had to talk to somebody, had to talk to somebody, had to talk to somebody before it got to the person it needed to go to. No, why are we doing that? Why can't you just talk straight to the person you need to talk to and not have, 15 other hands in the mix? So I think we have the right here to be a little excited, to be a little hyped. I'm not trying to go say Super Bowl bound and, beat my chest and all that other shit. But I think we have the right to be a little hyped here with the way things are going, because we're starting to do things, and we're starting to see what the NFL teams that are constantly in the playoffs, we're starting to do what they're doing.
Yeah, and but with Pete Carroll coming in, there's a lot of hype from the media, and talking about Pete Carroll. Look what he did with USC. Look what he did with Seattle, and you talk about Legion of Boom. I mean, from interview today with Rob Leonard, this is as a coach, this is what he had to say about the hire, or about the opportunity to work under Pete Carroll. This was him today.
What's it been like coaching with Pete?
With Pete?
Yeah.
Great energy. Everything like we've been talking. Consistent energy. Very involved. Always asking questions. Why are we doing this? Why he challenges everything. Just make it fun to come to work. And he wants to be. He wants to win. He wants to win. So you better know your stuff. You better have a reason as to why you're telling him what you're telling him, why you're coaching. He wants to hear. He's very involved.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the biggest things to stick out.
What are your biggest takeaways, just football wise, just him being such a defensive mind? What have you been able to kind of pick up from him?
Sidebar here. He gave one of the best corners press clinics I've ever heard. He has so much football knowledge. It's like kind of where to start from a back end standpoint. And I think always from that experience, like the vision as a head coach with that experience, like this is what we're trying to accomplish. This is the objective of whatever it may be. It starts with the principles of how to build a team. You see always compete on there, but what does that actually mean? What are the 3 rules? What do those actually mean? Why? Where they come from? I think it creates deeper meaning for the players that it matters. And then us as coaches doubling down on those things. When there's clarity at the top, it's easy. You just go into your meeting. I told them my job is to echo the message of the head coach and the coordinator. So I go in there and boom, double down on the same message in my own way. And it's just a lot of fun. It really is.
Pete Carroll has had great defenses over the years. Legion of Boom won a Super Bowl. How does that raise the standard for every coach around him in this defense?
It's Pete Carroll, Legion of Boom, the SC. The resume speaks for itself. So I think when he walks in the building, just with his resume, nothing needs to be said. You know what it is. This guy's used to playing a high-level defense. So we're trying to, and that's the expectation.
Right. Your coach, one of the only assistants in here that came from the previous regime, who's seen other regimes in this building, and the big message of this offseason is leaving that in the past and starting something new. Yeah. What has it been like you mentally, just flipping the page and knowing this is a new beginning for the whole franchise and yourself?
Don't even know what you're talking about. Don't even know what you're talking about. It's 2025, right? Pete Carroll, we're with the Raiders. We're rolling.
I love it. Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So you see right there, I mean, the coaches love coaching under him. You hear about Pete Carroll challenging coaches. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And he even said in one of his interviews, Pete Carroll did a few last week, that he's going out there and he just wants to show, or I guess be an example on how to coach the players. So he's trying to do everything, trying to show everybody, the way he, not metal in the way he does it, but just kind of like coaching the coaches and coaching the players. He has a lot of football knowledge. So right then and there, Asylum, when you think about that right there.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's all good shit to hear, Again, the coaching the coaches, what you said there, that's a big thing that a lot of head coaches don't do. They bring in somebody, you know what your job is, do your job. That was a problem that AP had. He couldn't coach his coaches because he was relatively new. It only comes with experience. That statement there is something that, Andy Reid would do. He's been in the league long enough. All these older coaches who've been around forever, Mike Tomlin, people who've been there forever, that's what they're doing. They're coaching their coaches. They're testing their coaches. Don't let them get settled and what's the word I'm looking for?
Complacent.
Complacent and shit, right? Thinking, okay, this is it. It's not my problem. My offensive line is doing great. No, why are we doing this here? Okay, good, you passed. It's just one of those things. Teaching and learning never ends. There's Pete Carroll still don't know everything about football. And he's been doing this for how long?
A long time.
There's always something new. There's always something to learn. If you think you've learned everything, you're going to fail because you're not going to be able to take in information. You're not going to be able to hear what people are saying. Pete Carroll has a defensive mind, but yet his offenses have worked wonders. He knows how to, manage without micromanaging. I think this is all great news, what you're hearing. It's just, he's energetic. He's out there doing everything. He may die on the goddamn field of a heart attack during a practice and shit, but he went out there. But at the same time, he's teaching his coaches on what he wants. So if anything is to happen, anything needs to go, let's say it don't work out, we fire him after this year. At least there's going to be coaches who could step up and take over and do what needs to be done. Or when they go somewhere else, they're going to have said, where'd you learn that? Oh, well, back when I was coaching with Pete Carroll. I'm hearing good things out of all this, is what I'm trying to say. I'm just, I'm not hearing some, just he's out here. I'm doing it my way. This is the only way to do this shit. Bam, bam, bam. He's having fun. He's making it fun. Nobody likes practice. Nobody likes OTAs. Coaches, players, shit like that. They're just out there, doing what they need to do to get in shape and go. But he's making it fun. Football is supposed to be fun. When you see players having fun, they're playing to their best abilities.
Yeah, and that's what AP was trying to do last year. When he came into his introductory press conference as an interim. We're gonna have fun out there. I want to see smile. It's football. It's a privilege to play the sport. If you ain't having fun, then I don't know, whatever. But it just didn't translate to wins going into 2024. And like you're talking about players are having fun. Here's Max Facts with what he feels about playing or practices right now in OTAs under Pete Carroll. Right.
What do you see that's been different inside of the building this year? Whether that be with Pete coming in and like what competitions is he bringing to the building and to the team? Like, what do you feel and see that's been different since years past?
Yeah, it's just it's honestly just you enjoy showing up every single day. Like it's been so fun, and it's like it reminds me of kind of like that college energy, like if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like our team is super close. Like we truly enjoy being around each other all the time. Like it's not like we haven't in the past, but like how it's designed, the culture and how everything goes, like we're just constantly doing things together and we're always competing and doing events and like certain things together. And Pete, is the engine behind that. You know what I mean? He has a formula that he lives by. And you know, it's no joke, and it's amazing because it's real. Like everybody lives by it. If you don't live to that standard, as far as a coach or a player, you're not gonna last. You know what I mean? And he's very serious about it, and he's won. It's a winning formula. He's done it and won, you know, national championships, Super Bowls, doing it this way. So he knows how to do it, and you know he's implementing that every day. And he puts it on the players too to continue, you know, furthering that culture. So yeah, you know, being a captain, being a leader, that's something that I take, you know, obviously really serious. And you know, I've been a part of a lot of different regimes and different, you know, identities as far as like culture and things like that. But this one's been incredible so far. So he's just he's like one of us. Like he's one of the guys. He loves being a part of the team. You know what I mean? Like sometimes head coaches are very like, they try to distance or like make it two separate entities, like a players and coaches. But like Pete is wearing a glove and on the field throwing freaking hook routes and crossing routes. Like he wants to be on the field with the guys like at all times. So which I think is so dope. And you know, people always want to talk about his age. I haven't seen a coach yet be out there with as much energy and as much love for the game as him. So yeah, it's been cool to see, bro.
Yeah, and right there, you see Max Crosby. You know, he's saying the players having fun. That college atmosphere. Where did that come from? Pete Carroll when he coached for USC, and it looks like, and you know, and Max Crosby last year, going into last year's season, it was, you know, we got to get AP. You don't talk about AP no more. I don't work in the front office. I just play football. That's it. Don't ask no more questions. Okay, don't ask me no more questions. I'm Mark McGuire. We're not here to talk about the past, like Robert Leonard. Not here to talk about the past. Here to talk about the future and how we can prosper. And so he loves it. Now, Asylum, looking at this list again, if I can find it, what I do with it right here. Another acquisition we got right there is quarterback Geno Smith. Now, last year we had Gardner Minshew, who, for the majority of his career, I think when he came to the Raiders, this is the first time he was named starter from game one.
No, not the first time. He was a starter in Jacksonville.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to think about that because he beat us in Oakland, the last game in Oakland. But okay, never mind then. Let me rephrase that. This is the first time. Actually, no, because he wasn't even. It was still a debate on who was going to start up until like 6 days before the first game of the season, when it should have went to Aiden O'Connell, but it went to Minshew. So we saw Minshew. Yeah, you saw what happened. We don't need to look at highlights or clips of that, whatever. But now we have Geno Smith, and Geno Smith, you know, everyone was talking about trying to get Matthew Stafford. Oh, we almost had him. We had him, and then of course, premature reporting, we didn't have him. But was able to get Geno Smith, 34 years old, so older quarterback. You know, had to prove a lot, being a high draft pick with the Jets, right? With the Jets, I believe. Oh, it says right there with the Jets. And then, you know, career backup, going to the Giants, going to the Chargers. When he got to Seattle, playing behind Russell Wilson, then he got his opportunity when Russell Wilson was traded to the Broncos. He got his opportunity. And I don't know, Asylum, Geno Smith, and I don't have highlights of him in practice, but they're saying he's throwing good. They're saying he's looking good. Do you see Geno Smith? Now, of course, he's an upgrade of Minshew, but with Geno Smith coming in, trading for him for a third-round pick that we ended up getting back, you know, and the other picks we traded for the draft, during the draft, having Geno Smith, I mean, does that help with the hype or the hope of the Raiders in 2025?
I mean, okay, first and foremost, we all know here on the Cage Match, we are Team Ramrod.
Team Ramrod.
That's who we both feel should be starting, should be going. But,
yes,
you know, that's our belief. Now, I'll put that to the side here and try to give an honest answer, unbiased answer here. Is Geno Smith an upgrade from Minshew? Yes. Okay, Pete Carroll. We just played that interview. I believe it was beginning of the show, where he called Geno Smith elite. In his opinion, Geno Smith is an elite quarterback.
Yes.
Now, we can even go one more step. I believe they're called, what is it, PFF? Was grading quarterbacks. And Geno Smith is 10th, top 10 quarterback according to PFF. So, with those things going, the familiarity with Pete Carroll. Now, there's no familiarity with a Chip Kelly, but Chip Kelly can, as he said, he'll build an offense behind any guy who's starting. So I know Ed asked earlier what happens if Geno Smith goes down. I guarantee Chip Kelly has an offensive plan for Aiden O'Connell just for that reason. That when Aiden O'Connell's got to come in, it will get changed to fit his strengths. Geno Smith is not going to run around like he used to. He's, 32 years old, 34 years old, something like that?
34 years old.
34. So I don't expect him to run around. Now he's more mobile, and he will be doing moving around and taking off, here and there. He is definitely going to be better than Aiden O'Connell in that because he spent his whole career doing that. So when he sees those opportunities to run and collect those 5 yards, he could do it. I saw some of the, I don't want to call them highlights, but some of the OTAs that they allowed you to see, with the quarterbacks throwing and everything. He's throwing the ball good. He's throwing the ball deep, looking good. Carroll even said he's already been finding Brock Bowers. Yeah. They've been connected. They're building that. That's the only knock I have right now with this current team. Granted, we got rookies that are probably going to come in and do whatever. And Geno Smith, that Aiden O'Connell has above him, is Aiden O'Connell's played with the majority of these players for 2 years. Or going on to their second year in a Brock Bowers situation. So, I don't know if Geno Smith really is a top 10 quarterback. But I will have to say the last few years in Seattle, he has been playing a lot better than he did with his first, 3 other teams that he played with beforehand. He finally made the Pro Bowl for 2 years. Things going. I just want him to take care of the ball better than he did last year. I don't like his turnover ratio.
Yeah, and I was trying to find, I have it somewhere. I was trying to find the graphic I made of Geno Smith in the last couple of years with Seattle. His first 2 years starting under Pete Carroll, he made it to the Pro Bowl. And then the 1 year where Pete Carroll wasn't coaching, he was still a starter. He had good numbers, but he didn't make it to the Pro Bowl that year. So with the Raiders able to acquire him, No, it was another one I had. I was trying to find it. It's in another folder somewhere. I gotta organize all.
Oh,
these.
You didn't upload it. Okay.
Yeah, but Geno Smith. I mean, knowing Pete Carroll's not the offensive coordinator. Pete Carroll's the defensive coach. Primarily, made his how do you say buttered his bread on the defensive side? Is that the phrase? But
no, he cut his teeth on the defensive side.
He made money on the defensive side. So
he even played defense when he played football. He wasn't a DB, so that's his bread and butter right there.
Yes, Pete Carroll is a defensive guy, but having Geno Smith, knowing Geno Smith and everything, knowing how to coach him as a football player, being able to bring him over to the Raiders, so there's that familiarity.
Well, bringing out the best. He brought out the best in Geno already in Seattle. You see that, with Geno's play all the way up until going to Seattle. The best Geno that played, at quarterback was in Seattle, and it was under Pete Carroll when Pete Carroll was the head coach.
Yes.
So it's not even the familiarity, but it's the fact that Pete Carroll knows how to pull the best out of Geno Smith. He's done it, and if there's anything left, he should be able to, continue to draw from that fountain.
And if you're looking at the stats of last year's quarterbacks, we had 3 quarterbacks. One, we got off the practice squad of the Cardinals, but Desmond Ritter. But having the different quarterbacks in and out, head coach and offensive coordinator at that time didn't know which quarterback they wanted to play. A lot of inconsistencies on who's going to run this offense, not only as a quarterback, but as a play caller. The offense they didn't know which way it wanted to go. And these 3 quarterbacks, one, we still have Aiden O'Connell, and we had the side-by-side graphics of that. They weren't able to get it going for the most part because of all the inconsistencies. And then, of course, with our running back situation, we couldn't get any first downs or any kind of yardage when it came to the running game. Last in the league for the majority. I think we ended last in the league. What happened to my? Wait. Oh, I thought my computer messed up. We're still here. Looking at the stats, I mean. Oh, something. I'm gonna turn this off over here. I don't know what's going on. Looking at these stats.
Don't do it.
It's my other computer. It has nothing to do with this computer. So, but I just saw like moving around, like what's going on over here. The Goodell is trying to hack into the wrong computer. Looking at these stats over here. I mean, the running, huh?
That's why you got it.
Yes, they don't know this one yet.
So the running game got that one and doesn't do nothing.
The running game over here was horrible for the Raiders last year, and maybe what they knew quarterback who can, was a starter the last 3 years and has played in different offenses like Geno Smith has. That's of course an upgrade with the Raiders, and then with these running backs, you see that we had drafted. I'm trying to go through all these graphics over here. I got so many on here. We ended up drafting Ashton Genty. My bad on the misspelling. Ashton Genty to carry the load. Most likely, he's going to be the bell cow. The bell cow. That's how it goes. Looking at last year's. I'm sorry, that wasn't it. Looking at the running backs that we had, I mean. Zamir White's still on the team, and you still have
Sincere
McCormick coming off the ankle injury. I believe even the running game
Abdullah
should be
is
an
still
upgrade.
there too.
Yeah, Abdullah's in there too. So even the running game, I mean, even picking up a veteran that we did on the offseason a few months ago, Raheem Mostert taking over for Alexander Madison. They basically switched teams. One went from the Dolphins to the Raiders, the other one from the Raiders to the Dolphins. Mostert being a bigger back, and I know he has injury history too. Maybe he can help along with this running game, get it going, as for him being the veteran. And can help
I think Mostert's going to be, being that veteran back, he's going to help with Genty a lot. The fact that you got Genty who wants to be a 3-down back, most likely he's going to be a 3-down back, is going to help Mostert because he's not going to have to be in there. He's not that workhorse. That's going to be Genty, but Mostert's going to be able to come in and spell Genty when he needs to.
Yes.
And go. So I think that's going to help with that aspect of Genty as well going. You want that veteran back to be able to help teach your rookie the little things. I mean, hell, we already had Chip Kelly have to break down fundamentals and change Genty's stance in the backfield. And he didn't even go, he wasn't a dick about it. It wasn't this, he found a way to be able to connect with his player and be able to explain what, why he needs to do this and go. And Genty's even said in interviews, hey, I see it. I'll do it. Maybe I'll get back to my upward stance. But again, even Mostert could come in and be like, look, you're just still a little bit too much upright. Get down. Start off in a 3-point stance just to make sure your shoulder pads are low. So when you get that, look, if you've seen Genty, He's nothing but fucking muscle. His thighs are fucking bigger than a redwood. I mean, that guy is just, pure muscle. So you get that center of gravity down low, there's a reason why he's so hard to tackle.
Yeah.
But you get him in the right stance. Yeah, but you get him in that right stance and go. So I like Mostert for that. I don't think he's going to get used as much as people thought when we first got him, especially with getting Genty. I don't expect Genty to be a 3-down back at the start of the season. Probably the first two or three, whatever. So I think that's where Mostert's going to get a lot of his playing time in the first, we'll say, about 5 games, while Genty's still getting his feet under him, things, going. And then it might be, Genty's job to lose after that. But I think Mostert I don't think he has that mentality. I got to be number one. He just wants to be out on that field and contribute.
Now, but that generational tag that they put on Genty, I was saying earlier, when you have Brock Bowers coming in, a lot of us didn't know, because everyone was focused on, are they going to get a quarterback? Are they not going to get a quarterback? Offensive line, cornerback, tight end wasn't on the radar. Then they ended up getting Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers showed that, he should have been Rookie of the Year, but, he got outplayed, I guess, by Daniels in Washington. But having that impact as a rookie, I feel there's going to be more pressure on Genty, because it's kind of like, okay, well, hey, we our first round pick last year, Brock Bowers. They got Genty, who was a top draft, prospect, at running back.
Well, again, I think the worst thing we could be doing to Genty right now is continuing using the word generational. Okay. Generational is supposed to be one of those terms that get used. It doesn't get thrown around a lot, because when you say generational, that means, Bo Jackson was generational, right? I mean, nobody ran like he did going. If he didn't get hurt, who knows where things could have gone. But at the time, it was never thrown out to him as that generational. You start using generationals, those expectations, especially because of what Bowers did, and had that same tag on him, those expectations are going to be high. Now, how many times first rounders do we have that people call bust, or they because of where they got picked, right? It's because that number they got picked.
Degenerational, degenerates. No.
Yeah, but it has to do with they get picked. They don't live up to that draft spot. You get picked 5th. You expect to go. Now, if they got picked 25th, they're playing to that, to that level, that expectation. I'm just worried about tagging him with this word generational right now, which 2 years in a row you have generational players. That scares me.
Yeah.
Because if he starts to stumble, just being a rookie, let's just say, you're going to have so many people saying he's a bust, all this other shit, all because of that tag of generational. And then with what Brock Bowers did, if he's not breaking, running back records as a rookie, people are going to be like, we wasted a 6th-round pick. Or not 6th round, a 6th overall pick.
Yeah, a lot of us Raider fans who've seen, like you said, the draft and all the bad picks we had, we're so used to getting bad picks in the first round that when you got Brock Bowers last year, now it's like, wait, can we do it again? Ashton Genty, a lot of folks like, okay, I like it. I want an offensive lineman, but that's because I used to be an offensive lineman. So I'm going to go with my group, with my people. We got an offensive line. Yeah. And, we got him in the round 3 and round 3 in the 3rd round, back to back. But with Ashton Genty coming in, that gives a lot of hope or hype to pair along with hype. It's because it's still improving in the NFL level. You have Geno Smith coming in, who's shown that he can be a starting quarterback. Now, they say that the receiving core that they had in Seattle was a little bit more better than what we have now. But, I mean, you have 1,000-yard receiving. One's a tight end, of course. We're talking about Brock Bowers. And then Jacoby Myers, who had 1,000 yards, who didn't miss a ball.
I was going to say, you got to remember, not a single drop.
Yes.
Out of Myers.
But he didn't get enough. He didn't get enough opportunity because the offense was all over the place. Now with Chip Kelly coming in, we don't have a graphic for them, but the offensive lineman that we have, I know people are saying, well, we didn't really upgrade the offensive line. We just kept the same guys. I know we got rid of the center last year, Andre James, when JPJ took over. I know you had a take on the offensive line, Asylum. I know you had a take.
I had
about
my
the
take.
offensive line. Yeah.
At that time, before the draft and everything. But again, obviously, Philbin, Leonard, probably Chip Kelly, and Carroll are seeing something out of the guys we have. We don't know where they're going to start, where they're going to play. We have an idea for a few of the players, going. We don't know what these rookies are going to be, when they're going to start, everything else like that. But I do think compared to last year, as far as the offensive line, we are in a better spot because, for one, we know what to expect out of JPJ. We know what to expect out of Glaze. We didn't know that last year. Colton Miller looking like he might be healthy. All of a sudden, his contract talk disappeared. You notice? I'm going to hold out all this other shit. He was at OTAs.
He showed up to practice.
He was at OTAs. So it's really one, maybe two positions total on that offensive line that are questionable.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Kappa? Is it Meredith? Is it going to be fucking Parham? Different shit there. I honestly feel, because we did not know, and anybody who wants to say different, I'll argue with, we did not know what to expect out of JPJ and Glaze. Now we do.
Yeah.
And we know Colton Miller when healthy, what's going on there. We know if JPJ's at center, we're not worrying about the center position anymore.
Yeah.
So to me, I want to say that offensive line, the hope or hype around it, I think the hope's there, and we're in that better spot now for there. We're still probably a player or two. Maybe those rookies come in, and now our offensive line is settled. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm not as worried about it as I was necessarily last year, halfway through the season.
And Vincent says Alex Kappa was a good addition. And, Alex Kappa, I don't know if people forget or not. And I know Vincent doesn't, because he said Super Bowl. That Super Bowl year, who was the quarterback for that team?
Your minority owner.
Minority owner, Tom Brady. So, Tom Brady was all like, yeah, I'll sign up on that.
Well, and I'm sure Tom Brady had something to do with picking him up.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I hate saying this kind of shit, when it comes to that aspect of things, he played with Kappa. He knows what Kappa's capable of. You kind of got to take what he has to say and at least listen and consider it. It's not just something you're just going to throw out. What the fuck do you know about offensive line? You play quarterback. Kind of a situation.
I was upright because of them. I know.
Well, is he going to work well under a Chip Kelly, offense? Time will tell on that one. But, I believe, it was 2 years in Tampa Bay he played, right? So he did play with Joe Burrow with the Bengals.
Yes.
So he even has played with a quarterback that likes to move around, scramble, the mobile quarterback, as people call it, going. So he's played with both styles, the pocket passer, the mobile quarterback. So, pulling and doing all this other shit, it's not necessarily going to be hard for, it's probably going to be the terminology more so than anything that, he's going to, I don't want to say struggle with, but have to learn, have to deal with. He's dealt with, both types of quarterbacks. So he could do what needs to be done. I think that was a sneaky move there of bringing a little bit of veteran presence and maybe somebody who could help out regardless of what kind of offense your offensive line is running right there, whether it be power blocking or pulling and shit like that.
Yeah. And everyone is when it comes to the cap of signing, everyone's kind of iffy on that one. But you don't know. You get him out of a bad situation, maybe on that particular situation. I don't know. Get him over here, new. What they say, fresh start and all that. You never know.
Yeah.
So I know we talked a lot about the offense because that was the side that needed the most work. Even though with all the injuries we dealt with last year, we're gonna do it real quick. Last year, we still were able to be. We still kept the rate. The defense still kept the team in games.
Yes.
The offense could just never pick up the slack when they needed to. But looking at this list real quick, Asylum, I know we lost some big names, mainly Robert Spillane. Of course, we all wanted Clavon Chase on to stay. He ended up also going to the Patriots with Spillane. Even Marcus Epps signed with the Patriots. Jack Jones, we released. I believe he's still out on the free agency. Trevor Morgan went to the I forgot where he went to because I know
Texas, right? No. Miami. No, I don't remember now.
Well, no, Morrig went to the Panthers. I forgot where Nate Hobbs went to Green Bay. Diablo went to the Falcons. Maybe, I don't know. But looking at the guys that we were able to re-sign, extend out, and whatever, I mean, Isaiah Palamau, who you could say had a breakout year last year, we was able to re-sign him on that restricted contract. Max Crosby, with all the trade talk that was going on, I mean, he loves coaching. I mean, playing on the Pete Carroll. We was able to extend him out, so we got no more talks. Kay Adams of I just want the players to feel good. No more talk of that. The Adam Butler came back. We signed Jeremy Chin, which I know you heard about Jeremy Chin in practice.
Oh yeah, I heard. He's been. He has comparisons to. God damn it! It was from Legion of Boom. I'm not sure if it was Chandler or Sherman,
Chancellor,
but he was
Sherman. Yeah,
Chancellor. Yeah, whatever.
Cam Chancellor.
Cam. Yeah, he was being compared to Legion of Boom. In things going. He's been one that they're saying, definitely be watching out for. Was a good pickup.
Yeah. Lonnie Johnson, these are all young guys but see Pete Carroll, what's up, Chewy? Pete Carroll having that background, like you said earlier, defensive back, and then having it's not it's not ironic that when he was coaching the Seahawks, they had DBs that were dangerous DBs to test, got him to a Super Bowl, got him to 2 Super Bowls. He would have ran the ball with Marshawn Lynch. He would have had 2 rings, but whatever. You live and learn, and then you correct the mistakes when you get there again. I say when, not if, when you get there again with the Raiders. But you got a lot of these guys that could be sneaky, sneaky stars for the Raiders. Getting an opportunity.
Malcolm Cruz back, so you're hoping that he can continue off that half season he had with AP. Eric Stokes is another one. Roberts in the linebacker. I mean, even Devin White. I mean, there's a lot of yes, we lost some big names here. I feel the biggest one being Spillane, probably Morrig second. But like you said, Palamau, when he was in there, stepped up. Bennett, if he could stop being injured, was stepping up. Then you add, like you said, Chin, which I've been hearing good things about. There was another one we just got too. I don't see him on this list. That's a cornerback that they were talking about was standing out too. So, yeah, on the defensive side, even though we lost some of the bigger names, I think we've filled in some good rotational pieces and players here going and bringing back the ones that are going to contribute and keep the defense where it was. Our defense for the last at least 3 years has been on the upper end of everything. So we need to keep that going and get the offense to go, and then we're set.
Yeah, because when Spillane came over from the Steelers to the Raiders, we didn't know who Spillane was really. And we were like, okay, linebacker. And he ended up for the 2 years he played under, with the Raiders. He ended up turning his career, I'm not good at pass coverage, ended up getting more interceptions than all the DBs put together. So Spillane turned into a great linebacker, and he got paid for it with the Patriots under the coaching of Patrick Graham. So who's to say that these other guys that we picked up can make that big leap and become household names in Raider Nation?
Or even somebody we drafted last year in Eichenberg, who's supposed to be the same linebacker as a Robert Spillane. That's why he didn't see much time last year as a rookie. So maybe even an Eichenberg can step up and fill that void if Roberts or oh god damn it.
Devin White.
I just saw his name. Devin White.
Yeah.
You had the other up, I almost called him that name. If they're not being what's as expected or in this rotational pieces and going, Eichenberg is still on the team as of now. So we might still have some gems that we haven't completely. I mean, Palomar, he's a gem that we didn't even know we had. When he got thrown in there, we're like, who the fuck is Palomar?
Mm-hmm. The only thing was tied to him was my uncle is the Steeler Hall of Famer, Troy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But again, he was on the team for like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
He was just, in those depth charts that got the opportunity. So there might be some diamonds in the rough that, this coaching staff obviously is seeing that we don't get to see. And again, I hope this time next year, we could be talking about playoffs and a strong push and everything else, going, because we've seen certain things and we're that player or two away.
Yeah. So with that, I mean, because when the media starts feeding into, the Raiders, I mean, they might look what they're doing. It's like, oh, wait, if the media is not hating on the Raiders, does that mean we can not be so guarded? And because, all of us fans are, like you said, we're going to go 17-0. And it's like, we feel like we're 0-17. We can't do nothing. And now that we have name like coaches with experience.
I was going to say, you're saying that the media is saying good things about us. Is that because of what we did, or is that because of Pete Carroll?
Yeah. And that's we're trying to figure it out, because last year we were all the hope we had was of the hype. And one of the things I kept saying last year, like I said, I was a big AP guy, but you kept seeing him on all these podcasts and doing all these appearances, and I kept saying, like, I just hope that this team shows promise and can carry on what they did the year before, because it's going to look kind of silly if you're going to all these podcasts and the Jordan rules and the Mahomes rules and and we look like garbage. And we look like garbage. Now we're all defense. We're being guarded right now. We got Pete Carroll. He's old. It's not going to work. And then Chip Kelly comes in.
What is it? Chip Kelly, yeah, right. Oh, he sucked as a head coach.
Yeah,
he sucked as a head coach.
Yeah. We got Patrick Graham. Okay, yeah. Geno Smith. I wanted the other guy. And
there were some people who liked the Geno Smith trade, though.
Yeah,
there were some people in Raider Nation that liked it.
But
I'll put my hat on the hook that says I'm gonna wait and see what happens here before I have my feelings about things. But we know he's the starter, and this is the one thing I do like, even though I don't necessarily agree with it. We know who the starting quarterback's going to be. There's not going to be this other bullshit going, this, that, the other. No have to worry. It was said that they didn't draft Sanders because they didn't want a quarterback controversy. They didn't want that bullshit. So we're set. We know what we're going work with and what everything has to go around and what it's got to go through. So I'm hanging my hat up on the whole, let's see how this goes. I'm hoping the best for Gino because I want us to win.
Yes.
If that's with Gino, I'm fine.
Yeah. And we're going into this season, as of right now, it is May 28th, 2025, where we know who our starting quarterback should be. We know who our head coach, knows how to make the tough decisions. He's been doing it for a long time. We know our offensive coordinator has had a lot of success calling plays in different levels. Now, head coach, debatable, but he's not a head coach right now. He's the head coach of the offense, not of the whole team. We're wearing one hat. And then on our defensive side, we have a guy that's familiar, came back for another year. Patrick Graham, familiar with the defense, familiar with the personnel. There's no philosophy change where we fix the offense, but we change the defense. We fix the defense, and we change the offense. We're just working on the offensive side. The defense just has to maintain, add and maintain, add and maintain. So, as of right now, and of course, OTAs, as of right now, it looks like the hype can be hope. Would you agree, Asylum?
No, I agree. It can be right now. I like to see more what's going. I like to hit training camp, hear what's going on there, and get into those. We got only 3, so get into these preseason games and see what's going on with these rookies and the other people who we know are going to get more time. If I can see them gelling and playing well together, then that gives me hope for the starters. Because if the second string and the third string and the fourth string guys are doing it, they're not doing it just to get their job. In some cases they are. But if you can see that going, cohesion going and them coming together as a team, then definitely I think that hope, you could hype that hope because it's there. That's the biggest change I think we need to see out of all this.
Yes. Hold on, let's do this. Team Ramrod, yeah, say it. Now,
Team Ramrod.
Team Ramrod. Now, we're gonna land this show right now. But after last year's hype, this is how we ended the season.
Take over, Monty. I'm in the bag.
Me? But you know what? Maybe after the show, our feelings have changed. We can kind of let our guard down and believe again, at least to the point of this.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
So, and then hopefully, that all this episode that we were trying to encourage everybody in this therapy session, that if this doesn't go well, or actually maybe it just doesn't turn into this.
Everything that guy just says bullshit. Thank you.
So,
yes, we did that last year. We don't need to do that one again.
Yes. So, hopefully that things are on the up and up and we can believe again. We can root again.
I can fly. Oh.
And we can come together again as one Raider Nation and not so divided like we have been. Thank you, McDaniels, you dumbass. Oh, there you go. I slipped. All right. Asylum. That's our show. That's our show. Any last words or anything?
No, I mean, there's a little bit of hype and hope going on to this season. Let's just maintain, right? Even the hope is hyping the hype is hyping the hope. All this shit. Let's just get it going. Let's see how things go. Right now, I agree with what you said at the beginning. No news is probably good news right now. So let's keep up the no news. Let's get into training camp. Let's see what we got. Maybe maybe extend a couple more players. There's a couple players out there I like to see get that extension that we don't have to worry about, get it over with. But, let's be a smart football team and let's go out there and do what we have to work towards being able to say we're playoff contenders.
Yes. Because the AFC West is not going to be easy. But at least we have a coach that can be in this heavyweight class, who has coached against these coaches, and can survive in this West. I was trying to be all theatrical and I lost it. But
no, but I mean the West is stacked when it comes to head coaching. I mean, Andy Reid's probably gone here soon, but I mean, at least we could say our coach is up there, with the coaches that we're having to play.
Yes.
The likelihood of getting out coached is a lot smaller with Pete Carroll than with certain other coaches.
Yes. And of course, there's going to be that game on Pete Carroll's birthday where he gets to see his best friend in the Pac-10 and in the NFC West, Jim Harbaugh. So with that said, Asylum, you went away?
No, I'm here.
With that said, we want to say thank you for this therapy session. There's no news, so we try to put a show together that was interesting. We want to thank those who watched our show. Appreciate, commented. Shouts out to Captain Jack, who was on our show, in our comments. And thank you. Next week, we'll figure out another show to put together, because no news is good news unless you're trying to write these shows. Then it's like, oh, what are we going to do next? So with that said, thank you, everybody, for watching. We appreciate it. Tell your friends about our channel. We're going to have some new stuff coming out soon to send out. So if you want to be part of that new package of things, email us. Right now it's for free, because we're going to we're trying to for our loyal fans now, give you like a thank you for being a part of our show, watching our show. So go there if you want some of the new merch that we're gonna bring out. There you go. All right, Asylum, that's it. Until next week, we do another show. What we'll talk about, we don't know yet. There ain't no news, but we'll be back, and we'll try to be as creative and like we always do. And
we try.
There you go. We'll try.
That's all we can say. We try.
We end this show like we always do with the word from Coach Wallace, my high school coach, Coach Wallace, aka Raider Milt. But before that, remember, we're all ready.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Take care, everybody.
That's the core of a Raiders fan right there.
Exactly. Take care, everybody. Good night, and see you next week.
All you other NFL teams, your tailgates are weak, your teams are weak. We might be down right now, but it doesn't take away the history. And all you Raiders out there need to know your fucking history of who the fuck you playing for and where the fuck you're playing. Damn it. Oh, and by the way, I won my last cage fight again. I'm still undefeated. And you NFL motherfuckers out there that you think you want some, come on and get some anytime.